Welcome to the best and worst of Civil War. All right, everybody, so this is A24's newest movie, and just a little fun fact, so this movie came out April 12th, which is actually 163 years to the date, the anniversary of when the real American Civil War began. So I'm sure that wasn't a coincidence. But let me run down, before we get into the best and worst of and just some other things about the movie, let me run down a quick little plot synopsis of the movie. By the way, this video will have a ton of spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, just be aware of that. But the plot is a journey across a dystopian future America, following a team of military journalists as they race against time to reach D.C. to interview the president before rebel factions descend upon the White House. So this movie's written and directed by Alex Garland, who also wrote 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later. He also directed the movie Men and Ex Machina, so you're probably familiar with some of his work. I would say probably more well-known for his writing, which actually he mentioned in an interview recently that he plans on stepping back from directing for a while after this movie and focusing more on just writing. So I don't really know why, but kind of, this is something he said. But so the budget for this movie is $50 million. And I will say at times in this movie, especially in the first half of the movie, it felt a little low budget, some of the action sequences and stuff, which we'll talk about in a minute. But there were some things that kind of felt a little bit low budget. You can see where the $50 million budget comes into play later in the movie, towards the end for sure, especially everything that goes down in DC, which was actually pretty damn impressive at times. But yeah, we'll talk about more of that in a minute. But yeah, $50 million budget. So, yep. There's a decent amount of hype around this movie right now, I would say. I think a lot of people are giving it a pretty decently positive praise. A lot of people really enjoying it. Maybe a little overhyped, in my opinion, after watching it, I would say. It's definitely a slow burn, in my opinion. And there's some good things in the first half. Like, I love dystopian kind of, American takes on this, almost like a post-apocalyptic kind of a feel. Love that stuff. And a lot of stuff in the first half of this movie was kind of more of the same, more stuff that we've seen before. Nothing really that, extravagant or new or unique in a way. But there was some news channel called The Chive. If you've ever heard of The Chive, I don't know, it's just some corny news page or something, but they even put this in the trailer for Civil War, which is a little silly to me, but they called it hands down the best combat ever put on film. And that ended up in one of the official trailers for this movie. Okay, guys, let's just relax a little bit, okay? Calm down, okay? Calm down. That seems a little far, okay? A little bit far. Let's just relax a little bit. But anyways, I still enjoyed the movie overall and had a good time with it. It wasn't mind-blowing. It wasn't anything crazy here, but still had a good time with it overall. And we'll talk about some of the best and worst of right now. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of it all. Starting us off is going to be the best location in the movie. So for me, it would have to be the ending in DC. Not only because I've lived in that area, and it's just, you see so many things that are like, oh, I've been there. Like they show the Lincoln Memorial where I proposed to my wife, like things like that, and they blow it up, It's just like, that's always cool for me. But I just thought the ending was pretty impressive with the action sequences, the explosions, the realness of it, the helicopters, the way the White House looked and all that. I just thought everything in DC at the end was really damn cool. I mean, I always enjoy the stuff out in the countryside where it feels like you're in some dystopian world of some sort. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the shots were them kind of just driving through a city, driving through a town with clear CGI thing, or just things added in post to kind of make it look like a building had like a hole in it, or some smoke over there, or a little bit of a fire over there. Yeah, I get that, but still, I like that kind of stuff. But overall, I would say the best location in the movie for me was just everything in DC at the end. Worst location in the movie for me would have to be early on in the movie. There's a firefight at what looks like some sort of like an abandoned building, like office building, commercial building of some sort. But that whole thing kind of seemed, and just to piggyback off what I said earlier about having a little bit of a low budget feel, I felt like that scene was underwhelming to me and just kind of felt like a generic kind of corny set that you would see on some low budget zombie movie or something like that. I didn't think the action was all that great in that scene either, but just overall that location I thought was one of the worst, and actually the worst in the movie, obviously, because it's in this section for me. I didn't really enjoy that location. I thought it was kind of underwhelming. But all right, moving on to best character for me in Civil War is going to be Stephen McKinley as Sammy in this movie, who I recognize right away from Dune, but he just plays that wise older guy who knows he has physical limitations, loves to bust each other. He likes busting their chops. They bust his chops about being old and slow, but he's like, guys, you got to listen to me. You're doing some dumb shit. Keep your head down. Don't do that. Do that. See, I told you so. He's just a good character, somebody you root for. Yeah, you probably predicted what happened to him when he dies, later on in the movie, of course. Like, that's pretty run of the mill in a lot of ways. We've seen that before in many movies where they take this type of a character who's older, you're rooting for, you love, and everybody loves, and they do that to him. Yeah, that's kind of predictable, but still overall really enjoyed his character. I was kind of surprised too that Nick Offerman plays the president in this movie. You see him for a second in the beginning, but then he really doesn't have much else in the rest of the movie. I was surprised at how small of a role Nick Offerman had in this movie. Moving on to worst character for me in Civil War. For me, it would have to be Jesse. I thought the actress that played Jesse did a phenomenal job, was incredible, and really played that role really, really well. But I didn't like how her character was written. I thought her character was annoying. I thought she made terrible decisions at every turn. I mean, if you just think about the deaths that happened in the movie, right? Who's to blame? Most of them are probably Jesse's fault. You know what I'm saying? Kirsten Dunst, Jesse, the dude jumping across the cars from the windows, which ends up making them get into a certain situation and ends up getting that dude and his buddy killed. Not necessarily Jesse's fault, but partly her fault. You know what I mean? So it's just like the way her character was written, she was a little bit annoying. Like I said, the actress played her role very, very well, and I'd love to see her in more stuff. She did a really, really good job. But the way the character was written, didn't do it for me. Worst character in the movie for me was Jesse. So best line for me in Civil War is going to go to the moment when they come up to that like Christmas place. I don't remember what it's called, but like the cheesy Christmas place. Then I was like, how many bubbles are in that machine? That thing's got to run out eventually. But if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But it's a cool setting, one of the cooler settings in the movie. And there's a sniper across the way in a building. It looks like at a ranch or something. He's like in this big fancy barn or restaurant or something. There's a sniper over there. And then there's snipers right next to our main cast who are trying to take out that sniper. And that part was just funny, and it was a really cool scene. Not only how the snipers looked with like the fingernail polish, like the rainbow hair, all that was cool with the ghillie stuff. But the best line was, they're like, "Hey, we're the press," and the sniper's like, "Cool. Now I understand why it's written on the side of your vehicle. Thanks." And then the other sniper, who's like actually aiming down the sights, is like, "Guys, shut the fuck up." Something's going, like, we're trying to get something done here. Like, we're kind of in a little serious situation here, You already see one of our boys dead in the ground there, okay? That part was funny. That's best line of the movie for me. Worst line in Civil War for me is going to have to be towards the beginning of the movie, just when Lee tells Sammy, "We're going to DC." Just one of the long list of bad decisions in this movie. Like, come on, you don't need to go to DC. It's going to end up being a bad decision. But the reason why that's my worst line is because, the events that kind of unfold. Yeah, there's some stuff, especially from a journalist perspective and a photography perspective, that's huge that they capture and whatnot. But still, come on, was it worth it? We're going to DC. No, take that line out. You're going to Missouri on a farm and you're chilling, okay? Relax. But, all right, moving on. Best kill for me in Civil War it's easily when everybody's held up by pink sunglasses dude after they went through the windows in each other's car and we're having a great time. And then bad shit's starting to happen. They're held up by him. And then Sammy says, screw this. And then just runs them over and saves the day. And is like, get in the car right now. I told you so. But yeah, that's a great scene. Great revenge moment. Like a cool holy shit moment. Like a surprise, kind of jump scare kind of a moment. I enjoyed that. That was fun. But yeah, Pink Sunglasses guy was played by Jesse Plemons, who actually, fun fact, is married to Kirsten Dunst, actually. So little fun fact there, both in this movie. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I was hoping to kind of see. I thought Jesse Plemons though did a great job in that role. We'll talk about that in just a second. But I enjoyed that. But that was my best kill of the movie. That was really, really satisfying. That was a good one. So worst kill in Civil War for me is gotta be Lee. Kirsten Dunst's death at the end of the movie. It was corny. It was something we'd seen before in movies that are not that great. It only made Jesse's character dumber and less likable. It was just... And then, I mean, maybe I missed it. I've only seen the movie once, but did she get shot in the head? Was it that obvious that she was just completely dead? Because it seemed like they didn't even check her. They were just like, oh, she got shot. Well, let's get the camera and take a picture and then moving on. Bye. See you in the next life, Kirsten. They didn't even check her. I was really trying to look. I was like, oh, is that blood on the ground from her head? No, I think that's her camera. I couldn't tell if it was definitive from their perspective if she was definitely dead. Because it kind of seemed like everybody just kind of moved on and was like, yeah, okay. See ya. Bye. Have a great life. But yeah, so worst kill of the movie was just Lee's. I thought it was just a corny, cheesy sequence where Jesse jumps out to take a picture and everyone in the, everybody in the theater watching it with me was like, oh, yeah, we know what's going to happen here. And Lee jumps out, saves the young protege, and takes the bullet for herself. She could have just tackled her, and they probably both would have survived. That makes way more sense. I mean, Lee's also been in a lot of combat at this point, right? She hasn't been shooting people, but she's been around a lot of stuff at this point. So probably not really a veteran move there, but tackle her, get on the ground, go across, something. Don't just tackle her and then stand up like you're a scarecrow looking to get blown away. Worst kill in the movie for sure. Best moment for me in Civil War was just to piggyback off of the best kill. I thought the best moment in the movie for me that I really enjoyed a lot. I mean, I really did enjoy everything, not everything, but I really enjoyed the combat in DC and some of the White House stuff. That was really fun. But the best moment for me is when they got held up by Jesse Plemons' character with the pink sunglasses. I thought it was an intense moment. It was pretty sinister. Some good, like, I don't even know if you want to call them jump scares, but when they shoot the people, when they shoot the friend, you're like, oh, that's shocking. And it was just like kind of I thought Jesse as an actor did such a great job portraying a crazy ass dude you'd find in this area with a gun he probably shouldn't have because there's not enough marbles upstairs to be holding that big of an assault rifle. He just kind of played that crazy guy with a look in his eye like, I might be sane, but deep down inside, I am a crazy ass MFer. I just thought Jesse did a great job playing that character, and it was an intense moment for sure. So, yeah. And then, I mean, of course, it piggybacks off the best kill, and then Sammy is like, I told yo asses, and just runs them over. That's just kind of caps off the moment, and that was best moment in the movie for me was that whole sequence right there. For me, the worst moment in Civil War was, I mean, yes, Lee's death was pretty bad, but when everybody just kind of thinks that the president is just driving out of the White House out the front door like, hey, we're out of here. We're totally going to get away with this. And it's just like, why would you think that's the president? It's clearly a decoy. You know what I'm saying? Like at the very least, there's tunnels under the White House. There's safe rooms. Why would they just drive straight into all the tanks and all the fire with just some little armored vehicles? You know what I mean? It's just not going to work. I get it. They're desperate. I get it. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe they want to get lucky, but come on. When everybody just thinks the president is just driving out like a maniac with his Secret Service, that's just a dumb moment for me. Also, when Lee and Jesse and them enter the White House for the first time, right after that sequence, because they don't really believe it, so they go to the White House to think he's in there. When they enter the White House, they're just kind of walking around, not taking a single picture. So why are you here? Or the whole point is you're supposed to take pictures. They're just like walking from room to room, not taking a single picture until later. Yeah, they still captured some important stuff later, but still, I was like, what are you doing? We're just walking around, huh? Just enjoying the scenery. What's the point here? I thought we had a goal. Haven't you been thinking about this for months? Holy shit. Anyways, yep. Worst moment technically was when the president was just driving out, that whole sequence. So, yep. There you go, everybody. That is the best and worst of Civil War, A24's newest movie. Like I said, I had a good time overall with this movie. There were some really cool shots and some cool moments and some sinister moments showing this dystopian society. Obviously, there's some parallels with the divisiveness that is going on in today's society and today's government and politics and the election coming up and whatnot. Obviously, just the divisiveness we have in America with having just such a big country. Anytime you have such a big country, there's going to be so many people with totally different perspectives on the world. You know, people like to say like, oh, this little small country in Europe is perfect. Why can't we be more like this little tiny country in Europe? And it's like, we're so big with so many people. Each of our states is like a damn country in itself. So I did enjoy the whole like fact of the movie kind of played on the divisiveness and the different ideals and ideas and, you know, different things like that, which was kind of interesting. I don't want to get too much into the politics of it, but I enjoyed the movie overall. Yeah, I had a good time with it overall. Definitely some flaws. Nothing really here that's too special. Nothing really here that never seen before. Nothing really all that shocking or new for me personally. Yeah, still had a good time overall. But anyways, like I said, that's the best and worst of Civil War. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure you subscribe, especially if you enjoy horror content. Ton of horror content around here. Occasionally we dip our toe into other stuff as well. But really appreciate you watching. My name is Matt, and I will talk to you in the next one.